Hello gang, welcome to this speed run of the 2021 ZX Spectrum D-Make of the 2020 PC game Nothing. I am Ruffled Bricks. I'm going to take you through a 100% run of this game, which basically involves completing it whilst collecting all of the collectibles along the way. So let's start a run in 3, 2, 1. Off we go. So here we go into chapter 1. Start falling down this shaft here with no controls, having the ability to match through text. We've just unlocked the ability to move to the left along with the music and the sound effects, so we're going to use that as our first port of call. And here we go, in between these two crushes here. You can't clear all 6 of those crushes in one go, so you have to get in between those two there, which is quite fiddly. We've now unlocked the ability to jump and the ability to look down, like so, which we won't be using a huge amount of. Now we're going to use the left movement and the jump to get around all these platforms, which is a little bit difficult. But we've manipulated the cycles slightly here so that they are all in opposite positions so that we can actually one-cycle all of these platforms in one go. And then jump up through these thin platforms, like so. And we now unlock the ability to crouch, which enables us to drop through thin platforms like this. And it will also come in handy very shortly, you'll see why. And here's our first cosmetic upgrade that we've opened, which is a sweet hat, which fortunately doesn't have a hitbox because these balls are being fired at us. But yes, as you notice here, that helpful information box there tells us to try ducking to get past these rather than jumping over them. Fortunately, we know what we're doing, so we're already using the crouch ability to get past them on what is effectively a lovely little auto-scroll part of this level. We've just unlocked distracting squeaky shoe mode, and that message there that says run. And the crumbling platforms there all go. We go past these crushers. And now we've unlocked the catchy elevator music. It sounds a little bit like the girl from Ipanema, but legally possibly distinguishable, who knows. So yeah, we skipped those 2 power-ups there. You'll see why a bit later. We've now unlocked the regular music again. We can't skip that. We now unlock the ability to go to the right, which is very helpful. And now the ability to run as well, which is good from a speedrunning perspective. That sign there says congratulations. That's because this level actually in the PC version of the game ends very shortly after these few crushes here. But on the ZX Spectrum version, this game has been expanded from a 1-level game into a 4-level game with 3 bosses. So it's a significantly souped up version of the PC original. Very close there on that crusher. So you'll notice, the astute viewer will notice here that we're actually going around the beginning of the level a second time here. We actually are going to do 3 whole cycles of this first chapter. The reason being that because this is a 100% run, we need to grab all of the power-ups. So all of the upgrades, regardless of whether we need them for the game or not, because many of them are just sort of like troll upgrades or just little cosmetic things like the hat that don't do anything to help the run. But we want to get all of them to ensure that we've got 100%. So here we go, and we're grabbing this item that we missed on the first cycle here, which is R mode, which just makes our character go ah for the rest of the game. And we've unlocked a broken radar, and I'm resetting basically just doing a reset there by pressing R. Whenever you grab an item like that, then you it works as a checkpoint. And by the way, here, this is a little troll item here, or a troll info rather. You go all the way to the right there once you get the ability to go right, and it just tells you that you've got nothing. Now these crumbling platforms have respawned here, and that's because I did the reset when I got the radar item earlier. And when you do a reset, any crumbling platforms that have dissipated, they will come back. So that's why we did that. And this here takes you back to normal mode. That item lower down in the lift shaft turns our character cyan, so you get what's called blue mode, and it's a cosmetic upgrade, but I actually want to keep the blue mode. So what I'm doing is I'm grabbing the blue mode last, and I've grabbed the item that undoes blue mode before that, so that it's not going to take it away from us when we go around the 3rd cycle. Now grab this item, which is the hunger meter, which we're just using so I get a consistent cycle on those crushers there. You notice the hunger meter adds these food symbols in the bottom right hand corner. This is basically a standard sort of ZX Spectrum trope of the health gauge that just goes down and down the longer you spend in the level. You know, you have that in Manic Miner, for example, with the air gauge, all those kind of things. And yeah, when you run out of food, then that's basically you lose, you die as a result. So, but you don't actually, before you grab the hunger meter, you don't have that problem, and that's why I've saved grabbing it until the third lap of the level, because it's not going to be a problem for us now, because we are going to have time to actually get around the level. You can also grab the hunger meter here, as you see. It doesn't actually replenish your hunger meter, but yeah. And almost forgot that actually. So we got the last visual upgrade there, which is the fairy, who you'll get to see a bit clearer in a moment. But it's basically Navi from the Zelda games, who just follows you around and says the words "hey" and "listen," without really giving you a good reason to do either of those things. Onto the lift for the final time, and here we get to unlock blue mode. So we get to complete the rest of the level in our Smurf costume. As you can see, Navi just bothering us, trying to make casual chit-chat in the lift. Nothing worse than people who talk to you in lifts. Running past the congratulations sign for the third and final time, and now that we've grabbed all of the items from the level, we can leave it and go on to the first boss, which is the first part of the game that has actually been constructed specifically for the ZX Spectrum. The original PC version did not have any bosses in it. But here we are, going out of the cycle now, towards the exit, jumping through this hole, dropping through these crumbling platforms, and then jumping up. And here we go, into the first boss. This boss is called Slow and Steady Wins the Race. And I'm going to have to concentrate hard here, because this is a tough boss, this one. So basically this is like grandmother's footsteps. Every time this monster looks around, you have to stop moving. Otherwise this octopus guy will wallop you within an inch of your life and you go back to the start. The problem is though that the times at which they look around are RNG, so that's why we're being very careful on this one. And walloped. So we'll try that again. Yeah, so you have to really concentrate on this. There's also a part of the music, like once you get beyond a certain refrain in the music, that's when I start stopping. Because once you know that they'll start looking around after a certain point. So the object is to drive them all the way to the far end of the level, and then they'll crash into a wall. Very close there. See, you have a little bit of grace in the movement, but not much. And there it is. And literally just as he was about to look round again as well. So yeah, 2 attempts on that isn't too bad, but yeah, that's a tough boss. That's the hardest boss in the game, that one. This second level is called... what is it called again? Oh yeah, Find Your Own Way. Yeah, this is a brand new level for the Spectrum version. And we just done a trick there called Food Skip. So I've skipped that that food item there. That replenishes your health, your hunger gauge. But we actually want to save that to use it as a checkpoint later. We've just unlocked a very important upgrade there. That's the slide upgrade, which enables us to slide under that wall like that. But it has a very OP power to it as well that we're going to utilise in a moment as we dodge these crushers here by just jumping in place to maintain ourselves being still on the conveyor belt. And this is the slide jump that I just did there, and a slide jump basically has a much greater height than any other jump that you can do. So we actually are going through a section of the level that we shouldn't be able to get to yet as a result of that. We just slid past all those crushers because there's a nice little rhythm you can use to ensure you always get past them. And we've unlocked an ability called the Second Chance, which is basically it gives you an extra hit before you die, and because of that you get iframes as a result of that, which means you can damage boost through a lot of the obstacles in the game, and that's going to be very handy for this run coming forward, because we're going to be able to skip quite a lot of difficult stuff as a result of that. Now I'm going an alternative route here from what you're supposed to. This whole section of moving platforms down there, you're supposed to go up to get here, but we're using the slide jump to get past, and this is a very tough maneuver I'm going to do here. There we go. So I used the slide jump there to get up to this food item, and now we're using the damage boost to get down here. And you notice that after a lot of these items, I'm grabbing a bunch of custom colours here because, you know, using the slide jump to get all of them so we don't have to do cycles here. And after a lot of these items, I'm actually pressing R to reset. And that's because these, as I mentioned earlier, these all act as checkpoints. And so because of that, when you reset to a checkpoint, then it replenishes your damage boost, so you get your spare hit, which means that you can then use it again, like so. So here we are. There's some platforms to the right there that we also managed to avoid using by using the slide jump. And this is the food that we skipped earlier, and I basically preserved it there because it serves as a very good checkpoint to enable us to use this damage boost here on these spikes. Grab the food, run through these crushers, and then some tough jumps over this spike pit here. Oof, yeah, okay, so we're going to need to do another run up at that. And we pretty much always use the damage boost on those crushers there. You can use the pits underneath to get past them, but it's much slower. That last jump there across that spike pit is very tough. You have to go right to the edge of the platform, really, to be able to get that done. And on to the last climb of the level, which I've managed to scuff on my first attempt. So let's have another go at that. We're trying to preserve the damage boost again on this section here because there is a... I want to use that for a jump coming up. Here we go, and around like this. There it is, there is the jump, and then that info box there says jump to the centre as we go down this very V-like pit there, through the spikes, and then into the second boss, La Garida del Robot Arana. This boss is the easiest boss in the game. The object of this boss is it's a robot who tries to follow you around the arena and kill you. We're basically just creating a path down to this spike pit that will enable them to kill. Taking a damage boost there as they walk past us, running towards the exit, and then the robot crashes into the spikes off screen, and we're able to get through nice and quick as we go on to Chapter 3. All around is the same. Starting off once again with some damage boost stuff as we just jump into the spike pit and run through those crushers. And we've unlocked a particularly unpleasant upgrade there, which is the AGD enemies. As you can see, it spawns a bunch of enemies in the level as a result. And there's some horrible ones that we have to try and avoid later. Here's all of the power-ups, the upgrades, the visual ones we had in the first level. So the sweet hat, the fairy, and the radar again. Just there in case you want to get them twice casually, or you want to get more than one of them. Here we've unlocked the ability to push platforms, which we actually don't need because of the slide jump, but and there's a troll item that we've just grabbed there. We've unlocked the ability to have infinite lives, which you've probably noticed, as this is a modern Spectrum game, we already have infinite lives, so we didn't need to go and get it. But it's a 100% run, so we did need to. Another item that we would skip normally here, we just grabbed the what they call the Michael Jackson moonwalk in this game, and that basically reverses the controls. You can actually avoid this item by sliding under it normally, but because, again, because it's a hundo, we have to put up with backwards controls for the moment. And then here we are, grabbing some food, and this descent here, you have to stand in very specific positions to avoid the spikes. You've got your damage boost just in case, but there we are, and you get the catchy elevator music for a second time running as we hang out with Navi on this elevator. And there's here you get the info box long elevator, right? All these info boxes were actually part of the terrain in the original PC version, but because of the way the Spectrum graphics work, you can't really do it. Now, here's some AGD enemies that we're doing a very specific cycle to try and avoid here. And that's because we want to use our damage boost to get past all of these crushes here, because it's much quicker. If you lose your damage boost on the enemies, then it's very tough to get past those crushes. Now, the controls have gone back to normal, so we're running forwards again. And now we're at the last section of this level, which is a big labyrinth. And for new players to this is quite a tough section because there's no more items to collect in this section. So it is there's no checkpoints, essentially, which means that if you fail, you have to go right back to the beginning. But here we are, and I've saved my damage boost for these spikes here. And dropping through, and then doing this jump here, and jumping up here. That last jump is very scary, but once you get past that, that's pretty much the last major obstacle in the game. And then this is the last boss, which is titled The Greatest Battle Ever. What this UFO guy does, he operates in 3 phases. This first phase, you have to wait until he turns into these crumbling blocks. When he does that, you just barge into him like that, and if you do that 4 times, then he will be destroyed into his second phase. Well, not destroyed, but, you know, he'll change into his second phase, basically. So here we are. We got a decent cycle on that. Sometimes he can jump over you, which makes it hard. Here's the second phase, where he grabs wheels. In order to kill off the second phase, you have to lure him into crashing into the wall at full speed 6 times. And we don't want to spend too much time on this platform underneath, because he will drop down otherwise. So that's, I think that's 4 crashes we've had so far, I think. So here's the 5th one. And then on the 5th one, we drop down to the lower platform, crash him into 6, and now he turns into the final phase, where he is an unguarded alien, like so. We wanted him to go up when we went up to him there. He didn't, so because of that, I'm going to have to grab some food here, just to ensure we've got enough health left on the food gauge to get to the end of the level in time. But here we are, using a damage boost here to run here, and we've lured him to the right, where he runs into the crushers and gets pelted like so. And here we are on the final level, titled Epilogue. This one is basically just the end sequence to the game. So we've got the elevator music on for the whole thing, and this is very linear, this. So we've grabbed this downgrade, which takes away all our visual upgrades, so no more hat, no more fairy, no more radar. And then we've lost all our extra abilities, so no more damage boost, no more green. Now we can't move to the left, so we can only go right from now on, jumping up these platforms here, and we are unable to crouch, so at this junction here we have to go up. And then we've now lost the ability to jump. And here's our last obstacle of the game, this crusher here, and then we have to drop onto this platform, and time will be when we unlock the final upgrade, which is now. And the final upgrade, or downgrade I should say, basically is you've lost the ability to move. Good luck. So now we're on this conveyor belt here. We're going to have a few near misses with these crushers. Spoiler alert, this auto-scroller always goes the same way. You never get killed by these crushers. And now we get dumped onto this lift. And our character, with his 2 eyes, as we unlock the second eye halfway through the second level. Can't remember if we mentioned that. Oddly enough, you can skip that upgrade, and if you do, it does make this end sequence a bit interesting. But here we are, we're at the top, and now our character looks up, and we get a classic ZX Spectrum end sequence here, as stars of all colours fly into the air, and our character gets sucked up into space. The stars all come to a steady halt, like so, and that is the end of the game. And we get a little bit of wisdom from the Bible as a result. For we brought nothing into the world, and we can take nothing out of it. 1 Timothy 6:7. Some members of my community have named the character in this game Timothy as a result of this quote. Do it if you see fit. But yeah, that was nothing. 100%. There's no gauge that tells you it's 100% run, but you can see how many times we died in that run. And we actually died a very slim 2 times, so that was a great run. Also, actually, it's a PB for me as well. So, but thank you very much for watching that run, and I hope you agree that it is well worth putting into your speedrun marathons. And I hope you enjoy the last remaining scraps of your day. Take care.